Before we continue, we're gonna watch a clip of Joe Rogan basically describing. Joe Rogan is basically describing the whole situation operationally, how everything was being run at the FTX company.
Now, I'm just getting. This is you and I are the perfect people to talk about this crypto
Because we're
collapse
scientists.
because
Okay.
we have
Economists. Yeah.
Yes, we have strong opinions and no information, which is a great combination when you're dealing.
The opposite of the double touch show.
Yeah.
No, I love Joe though. There was a pretty funny remark he made.
With the fact that people have lost billions and billions of dollars. But so Jamie's been filling me in on this over the weekend.
And he also is an economist.
Yeah, I'm not,
Jamie
not a source.
is our go-to expert.
I'll just find interesting links and say, hey, check this out.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
That's journalism.
Yeah.
And as a journalist, what's your conclusion?
That jab at journalists, though.
Yeah.
It seems like, but here's the thing. If you're running any kind of currency operation and you're involved in a polyamorous relationship with 7 other people, I got to think of that. 9 other people? 10 other people.
10 total.
What do? They just were polyamorous, living in a house
They
together?
all live together in the same place in the Bahamas.
And they all just banged each other.
Hey.
So wait, set this up because you're kind of starting in the middle. What are we talking about here?
Fun. Talk about a lot of fun in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
With billions of dollars of other people's money.
Is-
Whoop, whoop.
Someone call that a tax haven.
Tax haven.
Yeah.
So this fella was running this exchange, and they also had tokens. Someone explained it. Someone did a really good job of explaining it. And we could play that video, but it might take too much time. It's like a 12-minute video. But he was explaining how these tokens are like, they're essentially unregulated, but it's almost like you're owning stock, and or almost like owning coin. It's very confusing, but it's one of those classic examples of people try to cash in, and then the whole thing came down.
Yeah, the term Ponzi scheme has been thrown around quite a lot.
Well, there's not just that. There seems to be money missing, like a lot of money missing, that got moved from one corporation to a sister corporation.
So this is FTX, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And apparently they reached out to Coinbase. I read that they reached out to Coinbase, and Coinbase is like, we can't help you. This looks bad. Like, what's going on over here? And then now it's sort of imminently collapsing, and tons of people have invested tons of money over there, and they don't know.
He's referring, I think, to Binance, not Coinbase, but
what the fuck is going on. And people are trying to pull their money out by buying NFTs for ridiculous amounts of money in the Bahamas, because apparently people in the Bahamas still have access to the thing. To the exchange. Is that the case?
Yep. Then they would imagine that they were reaching out to the person and buying this NFT that would have yesterday been worth $9 and now it's bought for like 10 million.
Right.
To then make like a currency exchange. Like, well, you can keep 10% of that. But
So they jack up the value of it.
Right. So they basically say, look, I'm going to buy your NFT for $10 million. I'm going to give you $1 million, and then you give me the 9 back. And so that's how they're exchanging money and trying to just draw it out of this account.
Right.
And who knows how that's going to work out.
Right.
Whether people are going to be like, fuck you, I got your money. You're like,
Right.
how's that work?
that's the classic scam.
Yeah.
That is the classic scam. You pay them up front, and then they do the race on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Work.
Right.
But all of it is run by this guy who they were in the middle of profiling him. Who sent me this?
I did. Michael Lewis is the guy's name. He's the writer of like Moneyball and Big Short, many books.
And so he was in the middle of profiling this guy when everything collapsed, which is wild.
Right.
You know The Big Short, the movie? RJ?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
It's wild that they were profiling him.
Yeah. Yeah.
At the same time, this is happening. This is like, you got a guy that's called Bankman-Fried. He's frying the bank. They are profiling him for a show. Well, I think it's a show at least. The companies go belly up. The way they did it is super crazy. which we're gonna talk about in details later.
Okay, cool.
They had a polyamorous relationship, or at least polyamorous group. The inner group was polyamorous
Yeah.
because so basically the 10 people they talked about was the inner group of Bankman, or I'm calling Bankman, I'm Sam. That's the inner group. They were basically the ones who were running everything. And you had also employees that were working, but they were not part of the inner group. Even some co-founders were not part of the inner group.
So so to reformulate what you just said, you're saying that the management, the actual management of the company was not done by a management team, but was done by a polyamorous group of people. And just to be clear,
Yeah.
it was one big polyamorous relationship.
Yeah.
It wasn't a group of, what do you call a group of?
Yeah, you have something.
What do you have a group? What do you call a group of polyamorous relationships? That's something we should
Group.
look at. You know, like you have flock of birds. What do you call a group of?
Pack of wolves. No, just kidding. You know who said the pack of wolves stuff, right?
No, I don't.
Don't you remember Bruce? No, that was not Bruce. What's the Australian guy who got cancelled? He was the first cancelled. He was talking over the phone to his wife, the actor.
I don't recall.
You have Bruce. You have Bruce Willis, and you have the other one with the beard. Oh man, he played. He played. What's the movie he directed? Passion of Christ.
No, that's Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson, yes. Mel Gibson called.
Is
Don't
Mel
you
Gibson
remember?
Australian?
Yeah, Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson is Australian, right? Let me
I don't
look
think
up
so.
real quick.
Never heard him speak with an Australian accent in my life.
Oh no, it was the other. This Mel Gibson is not Australian.
Yeah, he's American
maybe-
Australian. It says, yeah. So he is
Yeah.
Australian.
Yeah, he was he grew up in Australia. I know
Okay.
I know my racist.
Yeah.
He called his wife. I hope you get raped by a pack of.
Yeah, I remember that. Oh my God. I recall that now. Yeah.
Yeah, I have
Pack
a
of wolves.
pack of wolves. No, it's called a colony of.
You can't make this up, man.
A colony of rabbits. That's what they call multiple. Oh man, this is too much fun. Okay, let's continue because we are having too much fun with this.
Yeah, man.
Where were we actually? Oh, you were basically confirming what
Yeah, so basically
what the
confirming that
situation
that the management,
partially of part of the management was done by those 10. So they were
a key
also
part of the management.
a key part of the company. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
the key part of the company was basically managed by those 10 people.
Yeah, then we're on the same page. Yeah.
And they were all on the same page, but not on the same page as the other outside of the inner circle. So that's why a lot of things were kept within
Secret.
that group.
Yeah. Understood.
Right.
Wild.
That is very wild.
Wild.
Yeah.
Like what are the
Right.
wild?
That is very wild.
Wild.
Yeah.
Like what are the odds that that happens at the exact same time? Because this guy was this wonder kid who had developed this thing, was worth $15 billion, and was like wearing pajamas and shit, like one of those like eccentric cats.
Didn't all of crypto kind of take a big, massive hit, though?
I think all
Recently?
of crypto
Yeah.
did take a big, massive hit, but I think this is a lot crazier than that.
Right.
This isn't just like crypto took a hit, everybody's business is fucked. This is like shenanigans, like some high level, like serious shenanigans.
You see, I use the word, he uses it as well. We have the same thoughts.
The most generous billionaire. Yeah.
That's part of this. So there's like, yeah, this has been unfolding like in real time on Twitter.
You know what just flashed to my mind? The most
What's
generous billionaire. He's giving everyone's money away. Oh my god.
Yo, yeah.
Oh. This is such guys. We're not laughing at the people who lost the money. This is just a tragic situation, but this whole thing it's too crazy if you think about it. And if you just read, we're gonna dive deeper into it, but it's wild if you think about it.
Twitter, which has been an interesting place to be for the last few weeks, but this guy apparently during this used a PR. I don't know if this would be a scheme, but a YouTuber was paid to make this piece about him and the way he gives away money, which adds to.
Well, he wanted people to know.
Well,
he wanted people to know he's a good guy.
Correct.
He reached out to Elon apparently while Elon was buying Twitter and offered to chip in $3 billion. And Elon said that set his bullshit meter off because like Elon's a serious dude. You say he's like, this guy's 3 million liquid or a billion rather, 3 billion liquid. Like, does he have that money?
Right.
That's a lot of money.
Right.
Say like we're gonna buy Twitter for 44. I'm in for 3.
Right.
3 billion.
It's like he's buying a pop.
Yeah.
You know what? Get me in. It's on me.
Right.
That's a crazy amount of money.
Yeah.
And so Elon said that set his bullshit meter off.
Right. Because like, where
Yeah,
did he
like-
get the 3 billion? Yeah.
You can't just say that to that guy.
Right.
He's like, oh, cool. He's not going to just say, oh, cool.
Right.
He's going to know basically what you can and can't. He's the richest guy in the world.
Right.
He understands money.
Right.
I think he wanted to fund it with FTT tokens.
You think so?
He has been doing that for a long time. He would. So Binance invested, I think, 100 million early on in FTX, and basically later on they got part of the money back in cash, but also in FTT tokens. So FTX bought back the rights, so the percentage back for $2.1 billion, but in FTT tokens and partially cash as well.
Right.
So this is probably how he funds everything. That's why because he doesn't have liquid. Yeah, it doesn't have cash. It's just tokens. That's his
game.
That's his game. Yeah. You want to
It's
be
just
part of
like
that game.
it's just like so you had in the past a gold standard, right? So every money you had, every dollar you had would correspond to an amount of gold, right? That you have somewhere stored. And
Yeah.
basically since KR, the only difference between the, let's say, the non-cryptocurrencies and cryptocurrencies is that non-cryptocurrencies are better regulated, but at the same time, we're also, what's a paper worth, man? What's the paper worth? But that's a discussion for another day. That's a
different show. That's a different show.
Yeah, it's a different show. Yeah.
We can dive very deep into that. But
Yeah.
well, the one is regulated, the other isn't.
Yeah.
But for how long?
Yeah,
But let's talk about that. That's the question. That's a great question.
And he knows who really has that money and who may be laundering.
Well, who might be just kind of a crazy person who, is probably can't believe he's in where he's at.
When you find stories about him from before, he was like the world's youngest billionaire. Happened super fast.
World richest person under 30. committed billions, the vast majority of his fortune, to tackling the most pressing problems facing the future of humanity.
Where did
Well,
he
that's nice.
get his money though? Like,
Click
what
on
is-
that. What are those most pressing problems? Click on that link. What is that link up there?
It's on Reddit. I'll have to hold on.
Oh, it's on Reddit.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like, I understand where Elon made his money. It's
I think, like all things,
Mm.
he's probably not all bad. It just didn't work out the way he thought it was going to, and it was for so long. And he probably thought he could get away with doing what he was doing, and he probably also thought he was doing good. So if he really is like super charitable, he probably also thought that he was way smarter than he was, right? Because he's under 30 and he's a billionaire already. He probably thinks he's the fucking shit. Could you imagine if you were worth 15 billion and you were 28? You would think you're the shit. You would think you could do whatever. And also, you're banging 9 people in the house together.
Yeah, I'd be doing bad.
I last longer. I'm the dude. Yo, this is crazy. If you break it down,
Stuff. That's too much money for a 20-something-year-old
You're not
kid.
playing.
what would you do if you had that money at 20 years old, RJ? 20, 20, 28, 28, 20, 27, 25. You have, let's say, a billion. Will you be? Would your ego? Would your ego be as bloated? You're on mute. You're on mute. You're on mute. Would your ego be as bloated as Martin Lawrence?
My bad, man. Me personally, at 28,
You have a billion on your
I
worth
think
billion is not on your bank account.
so I would definitely have a big ego, definitely. But I would also be looking at investing. So I did have that mindset, I have to say. So I would probably invest in things so I could retire earlier. But a billion is a billion.
You have already a billion. How do you mean retire earlier?
Because I'd still want to let the money keep making money, right? So you can choose to. So I would probably look to. So I believe in. So I want to retire living the same way I used to live before I retired. So I don't like the idea of living high and then you retire and then you have to live according to lower standards. So I would probably look into making grow. So it's a lot of money, but I would probably make sure that I have a bunch of houses, apartments to rent, those type of things. So I can be sure that I can live at a high level. And I would do that as much as possible so I can max it out. It's the cash flow for me.
If you have a billion, you're not buying apartments. You're buying corporations partially, or at least not corporations, big companies,
Could
big
be.
portfolios.
Could be. I would be buying that as well. I wouldn't buy only apartments, but I wouldn't. So real estate, but I wouldn't invest only in businesses either. It would be a combination, but the difference is that. So the difference is that real estate oftentimes offer you continuous cash flow, and I do like that more. I have to say than I like the idea of putting money somewhere and letting it stay there until like 20, 30 years later. So it's the combination of the two. But that would be just the part. The rest I would
Splatter.
I would probably look for an island to live at, but probably won't be the Bahamas, man. People are crazy down there.
Oh man.
Yeah.
You might have. Yeah. Okay, let's continue.
I'm not playing by any rules, anybody's rules. Fuck off.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give my money away to everybody. And I'm also going to move 10 billion over here.
New York Post is reporting this stuff too.
Okay, cryptocurrency billionaire broke the bank for Dems. Okay.
Yeah, we're going to continue because otherwise, basically, this is also part of the show.
Okay. But there is a political aspect to it as
There's
well.
a political aspect. Crypto has always had a political aspect, guys. Crypto, the authorities have been warning ever since crypto became more popular around 2010, 2011. They have been warning continuously about the risk of crypto. And through that, they have also been talking about regulations, regulating the space. You have in different countries, it's partially regulated. All the places where you can buy them, or a number of them, let's put it this way, where you can deposit your money, that has been regulated. So you can deposit the money. Otherwise, it falls under the umbrella of money laundering by the company who's receiving your money.
Could you
So
repeat? Could you repeat that part?
you mean
So when is it classified as?
it would be money laundering, because if a company, if you're a company, you're receiving the money from unnamed characters per people. You're receiving it in cash and you're giving it back in coins.
Yeah.
That's basically the basis of major money laundering.